Welcome back. So, there's no hockey for the next 5 days in the National Hockey League. The Memorial Cup's now done. So, at any rate, I've got some evenings that have opened up. I'll probably go check out a movie tomorrow night. It's a thought process I have going on. We have a Canadian team in the Stanley Cup final for the first time since Montreal in 2021. Unlike Montreal, and no offense to Montreal in that 2021 final, which was entertaining, the Oilers, it feels like, have a chance. Now, I did see people posting online during this game that Dallas is controlling. It's not fair if the Oilers win. The Oilers don't deserve this. Dallas deserves it. I know Dallas outshoots Edmonton by a vast, wide margin. I did not feel like Dallas outplayed Edmonton by a vast, wide margin. I felt like a lot of these shots were ones that Skinner could see. Most of them, it felt like, were from the outside. And once the Oilers had a lead in this, like the 2-goal lead's been pretty much a curse throughout the playoffs, but the Oilers have been pretty good with leads. And for Dallas, while everybody in Edmonton mocked Ottinger, the reason that it upsets me as a Dallas fan is Otter's the only one that I felt like played really well over the last 2 games and 2 periods. Dallas recorded a grand total of 2 goals over the last 174 minutes and 31 seconds of this series. So when I see people saying, well, Dallas deserves the game. Nah, not really. Ottinger versus Skinner. This also marks another year where teams that I root for do not win Stanley Cups. It just doesn't happen. Loud crowd with all the chanting going on, various chants going on early on. There's a near miss for Stankoven and Close. The team's trade turnovers. Hitting pretty prominent in the first few minutes. The shot's pretty elusive. There's a post for Sagan as the Stars press. The Oilers draw a power play. There's an early clear, but then the Oilers cycle and McDavid puts it in the net on a net drive, and that was the first shot on net. Which, again, if you're Ottinger, you're probably looking going, my save percentage is 0. But it's Connor McDavid. Draisaitl and Bouchard with the assists at .417. The Oilers headed to Florida. Right here. I wrote it right here. Zoom in if you want. Right there. Oilers headed to Florida. There's no way I could have put that in after. I was like, yep, that's it. She's done. That's it. Stars look to respond. The shots are 3-1 for Dallas 6 minutes in. But again, Oilers had the lead. Stars press are kept to the outside. Then there's too many Oilers on the ice. The Stars get a power play. Like that's helped them in this series. Early cycle, it's cleared. They cycle, it's cleared again. Stankoven has a shot that's held. There's another clear that ends it. 1 shot on net. So another thing I want to point out too is all year we've heard about how 5-on-5 is so much more important than special teams. Special teams aren't that important. Special teams won this series for the Edmonton Oilers. They're in the Stanley Cup final because special teams, they controlled it against LA, Vancouver, and now Dallas. Special teams get them to the final. Maybe they're important after all. All right, so Stars press after the power play's done. Pavelski's denied. Janmark nearly scores on a net drive for Edmonton. Draisaitl fires one wide as the Oilers press. Bouchard then has a shot that's blocked. Pavelski has a shot that's held. There's some pushing there. Not that the Stars showed much fight back at all tonight. I just didn't feel that emotion from Dallas. The Oilers press with 6.5 minutes left. The teams trade turnovers. The Oilers draw another power play. There's an early clear. McDavid has a net drive. That's defended. It's cleared. There's a near miss for Hyman and Close, but don't worry. He gets the next one. He scores on what was the 3rd shot on net. And again, he buries it in Close. It's just they get in close. 5-on-4. These guys are deadly. Bouchard and McDavid with the assists at 15:42. And the Stars look to respond. In the Stars' defense, they allowed nothing 5-on-5 to the Oilers at all. They just couldn't generate enough. They couldn't score when they had their power plays either. Oilers block. They clear. Johnston has a wraparound that's held. 2:39 left. The Stars get a power play. Of course, they're 0 for the series. Robertson has a shot that's held. The Oilers clear. They clear it again. Then there was a failed clear on the next time, but they cleared it right after that anyway, so it was okay. They killed that off. 2 shots for Dallas on that power play. Not overly dangerous ones either. So it's 2-0 Edmonton after 1. Second period. Kane wasn't on the bench. He got hurt on a hit in the first period. He would return, though. Early press by Dallas. Shots are 2-1 for the Stars. 2 minutes in. There's a near miss for McDavid, and then he hit the post on his next try. And they were double shifting McDavid while Kane was out. Bork has a wraparound with a near miss. I'm going to say this, Maverick Bork, I do not envy coming into this as your first ever NHL game. I thought he played well. I think the kids are the one encouraging thing out of this series for Dallas. Whether it's Johnston, Stankoven, Bork, these guys all look like they're keepers. They're really good young players. Dallas has something to build around. But I'm going to say this. When the announcer said the only forward tonight that hadn't had a shot for Dallas was Jamie Benn, I shrugged and said, well, it's a big game. Why does Benn need shots? This is something that goes back to when they lost against St. Louis in, was it 2017, the first time I complained about Jamie Benn in a big game, not really going out and doing what Jamie Benn should do, considering his resume. But anyways, so yeah, Johnston has a shot deflect out. Kane returns at this point. The Oilers press at 4 minutes. The Stars have a 3-on-2 that misfires. Nugent Hopkins has a rush chance that goes wide. Heiskanen has a blast that's saved. The rebound's held. Draisaitl to McLeod, near miss there. Steele beats out an icing call. Then his shot was held after that. The Oilers giving Skinner a clear view of the shots. Really important to note here. They were clearing the front of the net. They were doing a really good job of making sure he could see it. And also making sure those pucks were not coming at him for very, in close. So yes, Dallas a lot of shots. I didn't feel like very many of them were of the dangerous variety. Otter mockery begins because why not? You got to mock somebody. Shots are 5-3 Dallas at the half. There's a post for Hintz as the Stars press. Would Draisaitl say that means Skinner didn't have a good game? Because that's 2 posts for Dallas so far. Bork has a shot that's held. Skinner, quite good. But again, was he challenged with a lot of really in close and, through traffic and all that? Not until the third, which we'll get there, but that was almost more frustrating. Near miss for Johnston, and again, since that 2-0 lead in Game 4, Dallas' scoring was it was Keystone Cops out there. Robertson has a net drive that's defended. More pressure by Dallas with 6 minutes left. Bouchard has a shot then that's kicked aside. Broberg has a chance that's held. And more mockery of Ottinger, because when the team can't score, by all means, mock the goaltender. And again, it's the Ottinger fan in me who's watching all these forwards and defensemen, these Dallas Stars players, hearing their goaltender being mocked endlessly and doing absolutely nothing at the other end to make it tough for Skinner, and just let it roll off. It's fine. The Oilers press with 4 minutes left. Bouchard has a shot that's blocked as the Oilers get some more pressure. And they pressed to close it out. They were 20 minutes from the final. So we're going to the third with the score still 2-0. Early press by the Oilers. They're kept to the outside. And then for a few moments, the Oilers DJ played Deutschland by Rammstein. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you. The Stars had the lone shot on net 2.5 minutes in. Harley has a shot that's held on a face-off win. Hintz to Harley gets picked off. And it looked like there was a delay game. They have a discussion. And yeah, Draisaitl put that clearly right up over the glass. But don't worry. The Oilers' penalty kill is the one that's taking the ice. So Dallas cycles, they clear, they cycle again, it's cleared. The power play ends up being killed off. 1 shot on net for Dallas. Was it a dangerous one? Not really. So 28 kills in a row for Edmonton. This is something that's going to be interesting because both Florida and Edmonton play a very similar style of game. Shots don't really matter. Defense is the name of the game. Counterattack's the name of the game. We might see games in the final where you have 10 shots for each team going into the third period. I would not be overly surprised. So Sagan has a shot that's blocked. The rebound's held. The Oilers aren't getting shots, but it's not important. They kept talking about, the Oilers have gone 11.5 minutes between shots. Who cares? They were up 2-0. The Oilers don't need a shot. That's the thing. The Oilers, there was no pressure on them to get shots because they didn't need one. They just had to go out and play the defense that Chris Knobloch has taught them, that he has really got through to them about. Something that under Jay Woodcroft and in previous playoffs, the Oilers struggled with this. There is no way that the Oilers of last year or previous years would have sat back with that 2-0 lead. They would have been pressuring and trying to get more. They would have been trying to pile on, which would have left an opening for Dallas to get rush chances. 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s, and breakaways. And those are what we didn't see tonight. Does Dallas get chances? Yes. Does Dallas have a bunch of 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s? Nope. I watched the whole game. I keep track of all that. They really didn't have that. So more bend, don't break defense by the Oilers. Johnston has a rush chance that's held. And then Johnston buries one in close to get Dallas on the board. So there's 2 goals in the last almost 3 games of the series. Both of them from Wyatt Johnston. Sagan and Tanev with the assists at 9:16. Stars then press looking for the tie. McDavid then has a net drive that's blocked. Stankoven has a slot shot that's kicked aside. There's a near miss for Johnston. Hyman has a rush chance that's saved. The shots are 10-2 for Dallas with 6 minutes left. Oilers press with 4.5 minutes left, killing some time. The Oilers playing like it's a penalty kill, back-to-back icings, not flappable. Like they're completely, they just don't get rattled. It's something the Oilers used to do too. They used to get rattled. They'd second guess themselves. Not tonight. Oilers hanging on, shortening the bench as well, playing the star players and their tough players defensively out there late. Goalie pull happens with 2:20 left. Robertson has a shot that's held. The next chance he has deflects wide. And then from there on, the Oilers really don't give Dallas much of a look at the net. They hold on. They win this game 2-1. The series, they win 4-2. And now they have 5 days off. So I've seen people saying, oh, you don't want, or 6 days. Well, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 5 days off, and then they play on the 6th day. 6 days off for Florida, and then they play on the 7th day. So at any rate, the shots on net, I still think they're mildly deceptive. Yes, Dallas got all the shots. 12-3 in the first, 9-5 in the second, 14-2 in the third. Final shots 35-10 for Dallas. But when they needed those goals on the power play, Edmonton gets them. They go 2 for 2 on the power play. The penalty kill absolutely lets Dallas down, as did their power play. They go 0 for 3. Again, special teams, the story of this series. Hits 31-18 for Dallas. Ottinger saved 8 out of 10. I'm not going to pile on Ottinger. I don't know how you save those shots from McDavid or Hyman. Skinner saved 34-35. I'm not saying Skinner didn't have an excellent night. He did. But Dallas didn't get into those dirty areas. They didn't do what you need to do to rattle a goaltender. I talked about it when I had the annual after Game 5, where I was talking about, hey, here's how Dallas used to play. They were tough. They were kind of nasty to play against. This Dallas team doesn't have that. They just don't. And so once this series started to go against them, remember, they were up 2-1. Once the series started going towards Edmonton, they just did not have the answer. They did not make the adjustments. I don't know if people can look at that as an issue with Pete DeBoer, if people can just look at that and say, well, Edmonton was just better, which I think they were. I think Edmonton was the better team in this series, but it's going to be a very entertaining final. I would expect with the Oilers in the final, with McDavid in the final, the ratings both in Canada and the U.S. are going to be really high because people want to see if McDavid's going to get that first Stanley Cup. And I'm going to say straight out, I would like to see the Oilers win this, just to finally do away with that whole curse of Canada thing back to 1993. It would be nice to see that put away, because in the back of my mind, Canadian teams in the playoffs, I assume they're not going to win Stanley Cups. While I make that assumption with Dallas, Vancouver, and Boston, and here we are, I also assume that of Canadian teams. Even in the final, I'm thinking, well, Canadian team doesn't normally win the Stanley Cup. So we'll see. But I will be rooting for Edmonton in the final. I think it would be nice to see a Canadian team win the Stanley Cup. I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to see Florida win as well. We'll find out starting on Saturday. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And again, I'm not trying to take anything away from the Oilers, from what the Oilers did. I'm actually giving them credit. In a game where they're outshot 35-10, I didn't get the feeling there was any reason to panic. And there wasn't really a danger of just this huge avalanche of goals from Dallas. Yeah, I'll leave the word avalanche in there because, hey. But it's going to be a very entertaining final. We've got a team that hasn't won a Stanley Cup since 1990 against a team that has never won a Stanley Cup. And I think that's a win for those franchises, and it's kind of a bit of a win, too, for the National Hockey League, seeing two franchises go at it that have never done so in the Stanley Cup final. And for Edmonton, it's their first Stanley Cup final since 2006. I did go with the small magnet for Dallas because I didn't feel like they played that well over the last almost 3 full games. But hey, let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.